This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 113.
Welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Brian Deemer.
I'm Tasha Deemer.
I'm Matt.
I'm Shane Kelly.
I'm Jamie D.
I'm Peter Rios.
Oh, great Odin's Raven!
That is my favorite Will Ferrell movie.
This episode of Comic Geek Speak is sponsored by Drawer Boxes. For the best solution for your comic books, check out collectiondrawer.com. These are cardboard boxes, but they are unlike your father's short and long boxes. These are the new thing. They are actually drawers, and they stack. You can stack them 5 or 6 high if you want. And then that means the boxes on the bottom, you don't have to unstack all 5 on top to get to the ones on the bottom. You just slide the drawer out, and there are your comics. Easily accessible. No more back-breaking box lifting. So if you want to redo your comic collection, check out collectiondrawer.com.
Have you stood on yours yet?
No, I haven't, but Rich, the owner at San Diego, he stood on a box to prove that they could hold the weight of all those comics on top of them.
Well, and I think if people are interested, they should talk to their local comic shop, because they're getting all these partnerships with different comic shops to save on shipping and stuff. So if you're interested, talk to your shop about it. Let them know that you're interested.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are we doing first here, Peter?
Well, the first thing we're going to do is announce our Scavenger Hunt winner.
Dun, 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 dun.
So I asked 25 questions, 25 items you had to look up, and they're all clips from the show, what people said, blah, 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 blah. And the prizes are, let's see, you get a free spot on the show, you get the Mirror Mask movie soundtrack, you get the Modesty Blaze softcover trade, Crisis on Infinite Earths softcover trade, either the Alex Ross Flash or Aquaman poster, whichever one you prefer, and the beautiful Steve Bryant Wonder Woman art page, which was up on our contest page.
Actually, you won't be getting that, because I'm going to be photocopying a page from some Wonder Woman comic, and I'm going to give you that instead, and then I'm going to take the Steve Bryant for myself.
So those prizes will be yours. So we'll announce the winner soon. The first thing we're going to do is go through the questions, and we'll get to that in a second. So, 25 questions. I'll start off and I'll read the first one. And Shane will, with his little laptop, will masterfully play each clip.
I hope.
So we're going to get a little clip show on our anniversary here. So the first one the question was, in which episode did a listener serenade the geeks with the Numa Numa song? And the episode was 84, and it goes like this.
Yeah.
Yep, and I'm not going on another rant, so that's nothing from this end.
And we have another very, very short voicemail here. It's just a couple seconds.
Salute.
Oh, that was great.
Our listeners are insane.
They sure are.
Ay, caramba.
So that was number one. The answer to that was episode 84. That was the only answer I needed. Number two, the question was, in a matter of 30 seconds, 2 quarters were placed in the jar for mispronouncing Mark Miller's name. Which 2 geeks had to pay up? The episode was episode 91, and the answer was Kevin and Peter.
Undo it before
No, I'm just saying, but I think you're going to find out if it's going to hold or stick or not.
Whenever we find out if it's actually for real, if it is for real, then it will be the biggest moment, because I'm a longtime Marvel guy, and that's a big deal.
What if they actually explain it in a good way, though, that it isn't real and they undo it, but it
actually does make sense.
No.
Something like alternate reality?
Exactly.
No,
There's
not
no
alternate
way they
reality.
can just clip the alternate reality? What's going on?
I'm just saying with that.
Put it where
We're
Peter
not
gave me.
spoiling here, right? So I don't want to get into.
I don't think so.
Okay, well then forget it. But yeah,
Okay.
22 minutes.
Ty, how Ty?
Mine, I predicted it
Here it
way
is.
back,
Here
and
it
I'm
is.
going to stick with it. The Wolverine by Mark Millar, the 12 issues. Mark Miller. Shucks.
Ching, 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 ching.
So, yeah, that's mine.
For me, it's Homelands in Fables.
I kind of had a tie with this one because it was the Captain America Winter Soldier story, and also the Wolverine Mark Millar run.
Oh, ding, 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 ding.
God.
So that was number 2. Number 3 is here it is. Which creator did Mr. Joe Kubert call the Big Muckamuck? And that was episode 77, and the answer was Paul Levitz.
Used to be my assistant when I was an editor. So I know Paul really well. I know most of the people up there who are in pretty good positions now when they first started. So having been around this long is a terrific advantage. And the people up at D.C. have always treated me really, really well. I consider Paul Levitz, as a matter of fact. I know a lot of people, and there are not a lot of people that I'd call friend. Paul is one of them.
So what's the salary for the title Muckamuck?
What's the qualifications?
A lot of bucks for Mucky Muck.
All right, so that's number 3. Number 4 was which geek said, "And don't question the shiznit." That was episode 99, and it was, which geek was it? Well, it was Brian.
This is number 1.
Nope.
Oh, I could have answered that. I wish I would have been here for that.
Well, I thought it, but you were so adamant about it. It's like, and don't question the shiznit, you know?
Well, it was one of those. It was at the time where number 1 issues were so big and everything was new number 1 issue.
All right, so that's number 4. Number 5 was where are we at here? Oh, which geek presented the first ever Frecking Sweer Award? That was at our big episode 100 at Golden Eagle, Golden Eagle Comics and Writing, PA. It was Shane who did the presentation, and the award recipient, because I did want both answers, was Danny Brunell.
Hang on.
And that was actually, I should say that some people did answer one of those, but not both of them. Like they gave me one, so I had to disqualify you. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
We've done for our son just makes us so proud. That's what we get. But thanks again.
While we're on that topic,
while we're on that
subject,
Danny,
come on up.
Come on up to the mic.
Danny, we created something for you as a thank you for creating Frecking Sweer and how much it's become part of our mantra. So here's a little plaque. The 2005 Frecking Sweer Award. This will be an annual thing.
Speech.
I don't really know what to say.
Say thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. And number 6 was in which episode did a listener propose, and what is his name? And that was episode 79, and his name was Mario. And some people actually knew that his fiance's name was Jen. I didn't even remember that, or I didn't even ask for it. And I had like a couple people say Mario to Jen. I was like, wow, that's cool. They're really doing their homework on that one. So that's our next one.
What's her name?
Her name is Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Hello.
She's not
Hi,
there,
Jen.
is she?
What's that?
She's not there, is she?
She is not here. One second. But actually, if she listens to this, there's something I'd probably like to say to her. Hey, Jen, I know you're listening to this, and I know it's probably been a few days since I've said this, which is kind of weird because there's going to be some kind of weird interim of time lapse, like a time flux, I guess.
But anyway, I love you very much, and I think we should start a little geek family together. And I just wanted to know if you would marry me.
Whoa! I knew it was coming.
Are you serious?
I'm damn serious.
Wow!
Oh,
Damn.
man.
All right, that was what was that? 6. Number 7. Number 7 is in which episode did Brian respond to a listener email with the answer of $87, and what was the question? So it was episode 78, and the question was, how much does it take to start up a comic shop?
To hit on that figure, so there's certain things. But
Well, I want stands, goddammit.
Brian has spoken.
That's right.
Brian's rant of the day. Stands.
So-
Have 'em.
His next question about, I have no idea how much money it takes to open a comic book shop.
That one I've actually looked into
Way
a little
more
bit.
than I have.
$87.
If you're just doing something as simple as mail order with
I put on some kind of like New York accent.
$87.
I love it. All right. Number 8 was in which episode did the Geeks sing Jingle Bells? And it was episode 87, right at the beginning. You just let that play right from the beginning.
This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 87.
Oh, after the music, I guess.
Jingle bells,
Oh, there it is.
Batman
Yeah,
smells, Robin laid an egg. Batmobile lost his wheel and Joker got away. Hey!
Our little whims.
I missed that episode too. I wanted to be here for that.
Oh. All right, so that's the Jingle Bell episode. Number 9 was which geek said little guy known as Parallax, and it was episode 88, and it was Jamie.
It sounds like something Jamie would say.
I thought it was Matt when I read this question.
And that was Jamie, and we'll hear the context of why it was said.
Whatever.
A little guy known Parallax. Big point of the story. Whole point of the story.
I don't remember. I just remember that they use their powers in a different way.
That was you when we were
Yeah,
talking
I
about.
know it.
Okay, we're talking about Green Lantern Rebirth on that. All right, so number 10, which got the most insane answer. So I took anything that was close. What is Matt's Pennsylvania Dutch definition for why I'm missing? And it was from
Oh, God. Do we want to even play this clip?
episode 96.
Earmuffs.
Episode 96, and I'll let the clip answer what it was.
Golden Eagle Comics, Reading, PA, and it'll come up that
There you
way
go.
as well.
Yeah.
So we'll be podcasting from our different location of Why I'm Missing, which is Pennsylvania Dutch for Rough Grouse's vagina.
What? I don't even want to know.
Did you ever see Anchorman?
All right, that's enough of that.
I think somebody put like Ralph Grousley's something. It was like, yeah. It's hysterical. All right, number 11 doesn't need a clip. It's just which geek was present during the Stan Lee interview, but not in the episode built around it. It was episode 83, and that was Jamie. He was there for the interview, but had to leave when we did the first part. So we don't need a clip for that one. Number 12 is looking for it. Which geek said, I'd like to do a blondes rack? And the episode was 98, and the geek was Jamie. And let's hear if we have the setup. Probably maybe just...
At least, like, write some down? Or...
Oh, yeah, right.
Talk amongst yourselves a little bit.
That's a hell of a question.
Give me that wizard that you just had there.
I'll do a quick off the rack if you'd like. Yes, I'd like to do a blondes rack. Thank you very much, Matt. I just read.
All right. You forget what you say, don't you, sometimes?
Yep. I thought it was me, but I was like, no, that sounds like Matt too.
All right.
I get blamed for everything.
Yes.
Question 13 is which creator inked the cover to Brian's self-publishing independent comic? And that was episode 95, and the answer was Dan Atkins.
I guess I think that's about it. And that was a black and white book, and we didn't pay anything because it was all done by us,
Right.
Written by the guy, drawn for free, pencil. I think we paid Dan Atkins to ink the cover or something.
Uh-huh.
We
Okay. Easy enough. Nothing funny about that. Question 14. It was, during which interview did Peter request a cool Matrixy outfit? And that was episode 76. The interviewees were Maury and Carly.
No, not the dresses and the high boots. I mean, like a cool Matrixy outfit. I always wanted one like that, but you can't do it, unless you have somebody who's personally tailoring it to your body.
It does need to be personally tailored. Anyone
Right.
that you can buy, just like at a
From her very own mouth. Doesn't need to be personally tailored. All right. 15 was... Kevin had a picture taken with Stan Lee. What one word did Kevin use to describe himself in the pictures from episode 86? And the answer, will let the clip play for what that is.
Dad getting an email from Stan Lee is like, well, whoop-de-doo. He's heard his name, but he doesn't really care about him. But for me, it's a big damn deal. So.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm glad the listeners really enjoy it and appreciate and really take it to heart for Stan for who he is. I think it's just wonderful to hear that from all the people that have posted on the forum.
And we are working to bring you many more interviews. We have a bunch that are in the works. Clearly,
yeah, we're not
they
stopping.
Can't necessarily be any bigger than Stan, but they can still be great interviews, and some of them are very important as well. So
absolutely,
we're working on getting them out to you.
As we've proven with all the interviews, everyone's important. Everybody has.
Oh yeah, and that's.
Did I miss it? Maybe
you're
that was the one thing that
this should have been
the Stanley interview was the first one where I was truly nervous. I mean, maybe the first interview we did way back when, because I wasn't used to interviewing people yet.
I'm not sure. Your time might have been off on that.
I timed that one wrong then. All right. Well, he said Fruit
quarter
Loop.
in the jar.
He called himself a freaking Fruit Loop. That was the answer. 16 was, which creator referred to Marvel Comics during the independent era as the Antichrist? And that was episode 80, and it was Tim Truman, Mr. Tim Truman himself.
My family had been, they couldn't remember when they come to the United States, much less West Virginia. There was a lot of family roots that go back to the 1600s, as far as I can determine.
Well, that's about as far as you can go.
Yeah, and so it's just something I've always felt very fond of.
With there seems to be a push nowadays of bringing back a lot of the other genres other than superheroes, especially with DC and Jonah Hex and Claw's coming back at some point.
Really?
Yeah, I just read they're bringing him. They're doing a crossover with.
Did you write it wrong again?
It's Red Sonja, not for DC though. But they're like.
I'm at 36 minutes now.
Probably the Dynamic Forces.
Yeah, it's I can't remember quite. I'm messing up my details.
Oh, tell me I screwed up. As I was looking at all the stuff, I shifted my numbers
some
or
of those
something.
As we gave you one homework assignment. You couldn't even get that.
Jesus.
And I'm doing this on the fly.
Yeah, he is. All right, let's go to the next one. He said, and it was, Tim Truman. Okay, we got the answer on that one. Let's see here. 17 was, which geek said, what's the extension for heaven? It was episode 93, and that was one of Matt's off-the-cuff comments in the background. Yeah.
Wow, I don't remember that at all.
We were talking about Christopher Reeve, and you were like, we can get in contact.
Do a call me.
Phone call?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right.
Got about 20 seconds here.
Let me see. All right, we're going to call Christopher Reed.
He's dead.
Oh
no! Oh, I'm sorry. What's the? Where does it say where he's from?
What's the extension for heaven?
801.
801. That doesn't ring a bell.
Oh yeah, this one.
It just pops in there at the end there. All right, number 18 is, when did the geeks talk to a father of triplets? And that was episode 90, and that was Bill Beechler. That was just during one of our regular Call Me segments, so we don't have to play one of those. Episode 19, which geek has an entire collection of ROM comics? That's just Jamie. He just threw that out as a bit of information, so we'll let that one go as well. And that was episode 81. Question 20 was, who said I have a thing for redheads? That was Matt during episode 85.
Oh. All right, that's it for today. I'd have to say, in counting backwards, number 5 would have to be Firestar. Going back to the Amazing Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, that's one of the earliest cartoons I remember watching. And I have a thing for redheads, and she's a redhead.
She's a redhead.
Brilliant.
Very observant.
What can I say? It's what I do.
Captain of the obvious.
All right, so number 21, question 21 was, which creator would have liked to have worked on a good Western? And that was the incomparable Gene Cologne on episode 82. Sorry, I just working out my...
Is there any character that you would have loved to have done that you just never got a chance to do?
Let me see. I would have not any character particularly. I think I did a lot of them. I would have loved to have done a good Western. That I would have loved to have done.
I would like to read that book.
Something of recent vintage, something good.
So that's...
I think I'd like to read anything he does.
Yeah. All right, wrapping up the last 4. This is, which creator took the first appearance of Punisher and cut it up to paste up the pictures? It was from episode 97, Charlie Houston.
Somewhere back in my childhood, I had the very first appearance of Punisher, and I cut it up and I cut the pictures out of it and I pasted them up and stuff and just utterly demolished it. And I was really high on Ghost Rider when I was a little kid, but we didn't really. We just kind of go to the grocery store and whatever was on.
All right, and 23 was, to which trivia question did Peter answer how to go to the bathroom? And that was, what did Spider-Man teach the Beyonder? And that was from episode 89, so we'll skip that one. Question 24 is, which geek has yet to read Secret Wars? And that was Shane from episode 94. We'll play this one.
Yeah, never.
For a while, because there's an issue of Teen Titans where the Monitor actually, his satellite appears like 3 years before the series.
Oh.
But this was...
Hang on. One little mistake.
Shane's fault this time.
Yeah, my fault this time.
You should look for the Pacheco cover one.
Because that's one I thought. I thought it was him, and then I checked it. And a group of Marvel characters.
The one thing I can't get iTunes down to the second. I'm like 30 seconds in.
Yeah, it just recently. I just read it 2-3 months ago.
They have a hard copy too, don't they?
I don't know if they have a hard
I
copy.
don't think I've ever seen one, but
this trade is cool because it has all the heroes disappearing into that little.
That's what I like. Yeah, it shows the 3 or 4 panels from each issue that show them disappearing. That's cool.
I mean, they did release that as a trade, and I think the cover was done by Salvador.
Pacheco.
No, it was Salvador LaRocca.
No, there's a Pacheco
we're
cover
going to get
trade.
into like a little art, little thing there first before.
Yeah, I will bet you. Because I told him when he bought it, I said you should look for the Pacheco cover one.
Because that's one I thought. I thought it was him, and then I checked it. And
or is that the Avengers Forever? No, I'm pretty sure it's Pacheco.
Now you're second guessing.
No, I did because I did check it out, and then it's signed by LaRocca on the cover. But
really?
And this is a second printing of it, and they recolored.
I don't know.
The Mike Zeck cover.
I remember saying it, but I don't.
Which looks brilliant.
All right, you're about 30 seconds off.
All right, okay. And then the last one, yay! It's like Karnak, the last envelope. Is which? Hold on. Here it is. Which creator said, "Think I'm going to go now and stand on a mountaintop somewhere and watch eagles fly?" And that was Mr. Mike Norton from episode 92 when he gave his little review of 1985.
Full time after working for many years with Devil's Due Publishing, I got to create something especially for Marvel. My own character, Gravity, with Sean McKeever. I've got to work with a lot of cool and interesting people. I've got to be on your show, which was pretty cool. And I actually, started my own show with Devil's Due Cohort Crank. And it's just been pretty awesome all around. And, well, that's about it. I think I'm going to go now and stand on a mountaintop somewhere and watch eagles fly. Okay, bye.
All right.
We love you, Mike.
That means so much more now that I've met him.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
it just, you know, at that point I didn't know him, but now that I do it, that's even funnier.
Well, and at that time I was emailing back and forth from the Crank Show, so I got a little bit insights. I mean, that's just his humor.
Yeah.
He's weird.
So that's
funny.
25 questions. Thank you, Shane, for doing that. You're probably sweating right now.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh my God, I can't get iTunes down to the second. That's what bugs me. But hopefully people will forgive me for that.
And that was our way to sneak in a little clip show there. So the winner, or not the winners, the people who actually were able to answer all those questions, I'll read them off. They're all in a hat. Tasha's going to pick one out when I'm done. We got Tim DeMar, Brandon Duffer, Doug Porter, Tony Chambers, Ben E. McKee, Matt Kramer, Tyler Hilton, Mike Lewis, Dennis Pugh, Andrew Kelroy, Chris Seifert, and Marty Devine. And if you didn't hear your name, it was because there might have been one or two things that you just either forgot or kind of messed up. Apologize about that, but I was trying to be strict with the rules since there were so many entries. So
Marty got his in, and Vince didn't do it right. Man.
Could be some hell to pay tomorrow.
I don't know if Vince submitted. I don't think he submitted. All right. Here we go for the grand prize, for the big package, for the big trick.
For the big package?
It's going to be a big package when they get it. Who is it?
Ben W. McKee.
Ben W. McKee.
Yay.
Dun, 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 dun.
Did you find out how much you have to send to us for the postage? The prizes
That's
are free,
right.
but not the shipping.
We didn't say anything about shipping. So that was the grand prize. Now, we didn't announce a second or third prize, but we're going to give that away anyway. And we're going to give two more prizes, and your prize will be a spot on the show, a spot on a regular episode. So we thought, you know what, this is a lot of work, and might as well reward two more guys, and we can spread this out for the next couple of years. So here's the first one.
So this is Dennis
Pugh. Okay, cool. So he'll get a spot on the show, and we'll pick one more.
Mike Lewis.
Mike Lewis. All right. Cool. There you go, guys. Thanks for participating.
I'm just listening. I'm working on the computer for a second, and I didn't get what Matt said until just now. Jesus.
I knew what he said.
Yeah, I didn't hear either.
So send us your snail mail there, Ben, so we can send all this stuff out. It'll probably come in like multiple packages. And we'll be in touch about you three guys being on a future show.
And anyone who won our previous contests, the toys and the verses, I don't think I've gotten a single snail mail address for the verses thing. So if you did send it to me again, because I don't have it, but I know there's no way I got 5 people's addresses.
Well, and for the toy contest, I did get 4 different addresses, and I have been lax at sending them out, so I must apologize to those people. However, I haven't gotten 10 of them, because I think I had 14 prizes. So you can email me at bats1990@gmail.com or PM me through the forum. And I put that thread back at the top again so maybe people who didn't notice could see it again. Just that the prizes were mentioned. And just send me your address. If not, I'm going to start PMing you to get your address because I want to make sure you guys get your prizes. So I do apologize that I've been lax at sending them out, but hopefully in the next week they'll start going out.
So if you guys don't, I'm going to take them because they're good prizes.
How about we announce the new contest at the end of the show, since we've gone on for a while?
What, are you going to leave them hanging?
Yeah, why not? Make them listen.
It's a tease.
All right. I have a couple things here. I want to give a shout-out to Maximum Glory's kids, Connor and Devin, for hanging in there at the Comic-Con, and he said that they had a hell of a time. And
Did you see that picture of him going home? With
passed out in the car. Yeah.
Was Devin the older one, or was Connor the older one? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
No, the younger of the two. I thought he was toast like a half hour into the show. I thought he was already gone, but you saw him later on, and he was hanging in there like a trooper.
And we got an email from Lee Morgan. He's a listener of ours. He is in the process of writing a comic inventory program for the Macintosh. So if anyone is interested in finding more about that program and letting Lee know if you would actually be interested in having it, go to his website, web.mac.com/leemorgan/poll.html, and then you can let him know if you're interested in that program. And also, I got to give a big thanks to Seraphin on the board for doing all the avatars for everyone. If you haven't been to the forum lately, you got to go look now, because he's doing a custom avatar for almost every single person on the forum, it seems like, and they're incredible, and they just give such a cohesiveness to the entire forum and make everything seem like it all belongs together, and it's really fantastic. So, Rob, also known as Seraphin, we really appreciate it. Thanks so much for all the hard work.
All right. Shall we hit our previews?
Let's do it.
March previews for books shipping in May.
I'll be taking a collection to help me pay for this month's.
Bye, Tasha.
Did you have a lot?
Oh
Thank
my
you,
God.
Tasha, for
Yes.
doing that.
You're welcome.
Well, that's the funny thing is now mine, so far, I went through a quick thing this afternoon, and usually I'm like way over. I'm actually under what I normally do. I like cut back almost with certain titles that ended and whatnot because of Crisis. Kind of felt weird. I'm like, ooh, what else can I order?
Look, I mean, this is that's my list, and half of those are trades.
That's a lot for you, yeah. It was kind of standard for me.
There's my list.
Oh, well, while I'm thinking about it, I want to thank everyone on the forum for their kind sentiments regarding my impending unemployment. So,
my unemploymentness.
Yeah, that's.
In all seriousness, is that like the 5th time that's happened to you?
This is the 5th time.
Is
Yes.
it really?
Yeah.
Just a number to throw out there, but I can't believe with I guess with computer programming,
Well,
it's
the real kicker is, on Wednesday they announced the opening of a new office in India, and then on Friday, 2 days later, they announced the outsourcing of our entire computer department, which is like 40-some people gone in one fell swoop.
Let's tell we're outsourcing. Come on.
Well, the company got a city last fall. Citibank, bought controlling interest in the company, so they go in and they house clean. So they'll outsource it so the payroll's real low, and then they'll sell the company and make a few $1 million profit, and then the new company will come in and say, we got to get everybody back into the office because this thing with India isn't working out. It's a complete disaster. And then they'll hire different people back because that is a losing proposition. But Citicorp will have made their money and move on, so that's the way it works.
Well, if you go to Tchotchkes, don't forget your flair.
Yeah.
Office Space.
Office Space.
Tchotchkes.
It's like a TJ Fridays.
Yeah, okay, and the
I got
buttons.
your flair right here?
Yeah, the buttons. Yeah, okay. All right, previews.
Well, this is manga month for previews. Did notice that big as life in the front of the book. So there's a whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of gems of the month throughout the book are on some manga stuff. I don't know if I said it the first time through, but Crying Freeman for me.
Yeah,
I was looking at Dark Horse. I picked up the first one and the second one. I think I'm going to get that one too. That's
a good read.
Yeah,
I
it really
remember
is.
picking up a bunch of those years ago when they were first coming out.
Yeah, it's definitely an adult read, and I do mean adult as in nudity and sexual content and stuff like that. But it's done so well that it really definitely moves the story along. It's not just gratuitous.
There's some awesome Crying Freeman anime out there. I don't know if it's still around, if you can still get it, but man, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I've seen that too. And actually not really too much else in Dark Horse, I thought.
Yeah, nothing for me.
No, a buddy of mine gets all the Star Wars stuff, so I partner up with him, and he gets them through me, just so he doesn't have to incur a whole shipping charge. So that's about all from Dark Horse that I'll be getting, but it's all his stuff.
Of course, 52. First 4 issues.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
And man, DCBS, the first one for 75 cents, and then the other ones are all 50% off at $1.25. So that's awesome.
Geeky me, when something's like 75 cents, I'm always tempted to get 2, and I'm like, I'm still going to the store and getting a copy. Yet I'm ordering a 75-cent issue. I don't need 3. It's bad enough that I'm going to get 2.
Is Checkmate supposed to be an ongoing series?
I thought it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, Checkmate's ongoing.
Okay.
The second... Oh,
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, the second Batman Under the Hood trade is out. And the first one was only like $4 or $5, I think it was, because it's $9.99 cover price, and then they at the time it was 50%. So I'm not sure what DCBS has it as for this one.
I'll tell you what, even if you're not a Batman fan, those issues are really good with the Red Hood.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I have to read it yet.
Not to proceed with what happens, but you know, if you're not a Batman fan, pick those two up, and
Yeah.
they're definitely worth.
Well, the other reason too is because here, look what's all in Volume 2. Batman 645 through 650, so that's 45, 46, 49, 50, that's 6 issues, plus the Batman annual. So it's like that's a lot of
wow.
it's 192 pages for $9.99, and plus you get a discount. You know, so if you want the Red Hood story, like Matt said, get those 2 trades because
that's a good read.
Very good.
That's one
the
of my
artwork is gorgeous. In it.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite stories, and I liked Hush a lot, but it's one of my favorites since then, and I can't even mention the last one before that.
Well, that even ties in a bit with Countdown
Yes,
to
it
Infinite
does.
Crisis, and when it starts off, and there's even some stuff with Villains United in there later.
Showcase presents Superman Volume 2 for those of you who love all that Silver Age goodness.
Yeah, I'm done with the Showcase Superman.
You didn't like Volume 1?
Oh, it's so it's just way too goofy for me.
I know.
Yeah, but giant gorilla tearing off the Daily Planet, symbol and
With his kryptonite vision.
I say shooting Superman with kryptonite coming out of his eyes. You gotta love it.
Do you have those issues, Jamie?
No, I don't have those issues. I'm probably gonna get that showcase though, because I haven't read them yet. But when I get that debilitating disease and I can sit down and finally start reading all my books.
Oh, jeez.
I don't want to die from it. I just want to, have to be put out of commission for a while.
Your Crisis Aftermath, Spectre, and
I'll grab a baseball bat
Battle
for
for
it.
Bloodhaven
Okay.
start. Well, Battle for Bloodhaven's the second 2 parts.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the Spectre one. I might just get that at Golden Eagle or wait for, I might look at the first issue. I'm not sure if I'm really interested in reading it.
I'm curious if is there going to be a Spectre series?
Maybe that's what they're looking at for this miniseries
see if
if there's any interest.
Well, I think this is the bridge between, because at least from when I was reading, it doesn't look like, it may be one of those where the guy who is the Spectre now may not be the Spectre once this is done.
Once it's done,
I was wondering about
this
that.
may be one of those where he doesn't want to be, because it kind of reads he doesn't want to be the Spectre, and this is either him coming to grips with it, or maybe they're going to move on and bring somebody else, in.
Yeah, so this might become a Golden Eagle buy for me. The Power Girl trade paperback seems kind of interesting. It's got 3 issues of Showcase for when she first appeared, this Secret Origins from Secret Origins 11, and the JSA Classified 1 through 4, which was actually very, very good. I don't know. I thought it might be kind of interesting to pick that up.
Oh yeah, the Showcase stuff. That'd be kind of cool. I'm sure I don't have that.
Personally, I'm very excited for Shadow Pact.
Yeah, I am too.
Because like I said before, it ended up being my favorite of the pre-Crisis miniseries, and so I'm really looking forward. Bill Willingham
Again, talking monkeys. Gotta love them. Everything goes back to monkeys.
and this one William's drawing too, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Definitely the Secret Six miniseries. I'll be getting.
Yeah,
that.
I'll be
I'm not
getting
waiting for the trade on that one. I was so impressed with Villains United. I have to pick this next one up.
I had a question about one of the things in here. I was kind of looking at it. The Crisis for Bloodhaven, which we talked about. It says trouble brews as Major Force hits the ruins of Bloodhaven. Now wait a second. Last time I saw Major Force, he was kind of incapacitated somewhere that he shouldn't be able to come back. And I'm just wondering for myself how he came back. That's because if he did,
I don't know.
because it was at the end of the Green Lantern series.
This is Major Force from the Force of July from the Batman and the
so this
Outsiders.
Okay.
There was
then I'm the wrong character. Never mind. Okay.
Damn, using the same names.
I didn't realize that until
I wouldn't have thought that either.
Because when I say Major Force, I'm thinking
multiple man.
the Captain Atom villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is somebody different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
In Vertigo, I'm looking forward to the first DMZ trade. That series just looks very intriguing to me, and it's a $10 trade and it's 50% off, so you get it for $5. So, how can I go wrong sampling it for $5?
How about JLA Classified 22 and 23 with the Detroit Justice League, bringing them back for something?
I saw that. I thought, man, I'll go to Golden Eagle and look at it. I don't know if I'm going to be spending my money on that.
He's got your buddy Vibe in there.
That's what Peter's got to get it. It's got that.
On principle.
New JSA 85, where you find out the team in JSA now.
A new Wonder Woman trade. It's the final collection of the Paris stuff, which means that they're only collecting the stuff that he was writing and that he also drew, because he continues writing after this trade, but he doesn't do the artwork inside. So if you're ever were thinking about picking up a Wonder Woman, they're soliciting the last one, and they have all three for to purchase as well. So
that's kind of disappointing that they're not going to go on, because actually some of the stuff he wrote was really good too.
Are you digging the Superman toys?
No.
They don't look too hot to me.
Can you dig it?
His face looks kind of weird.
Well, like some of the prototypes that I saw during Toy Fair, his face didn't look too bad, but these could be different prototypes. These could be final productions or final test shots. But yeah, I'm still not a big fan of the toys in general, though. For those that are interested in it, that the 13-inch collection, they had a Batman Begins Batman, but now in this issue of previews is the deluxe Batman, like current costume black and gray figure for $65, $69. Oh, went up. If you're interested, I saw the ones at New York Comic Con, and Two-Face looked alright, but the other ones I wasn't too keen on. So I mean, I haven't gotten any of these, but Batman at least has some interest for me. But I don't know.
I was happy to see Hairy Monster from the Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Gossamer.
Yeah.
Ben
Walking Dead Volume 5 trade. I'm sorry.
Ben actually recognized him. He was looking at previews with me. He's like, "Who's that? I saw him, red guy." We were watching Bugs cartoons today.
Is that the newest trade for that, Walking Dead?
Yep.
Volume 5?
Yep.
There's also an image, The Art of Brian Boland. Hardcover for $49.99. It's probably a coffee book kind of edition, but I love his stuff, so I was debating whether to get it. I don't know what the price is going to be, because I love his stuff, and I would love to see
$49.99.
I meant discount price.
Okay.
I'd love to see what's inside the book itself first, but
Peter, the greatest Carl Barks, the greatest DuckTales stories, Volume 1. Come on.
By the way, from Image, this Bomb Queen, number 404. I guess Loopy Dave on the forum did a red Bomb Queen number 1, and then did a sketch, did a drawing of it. It's beautiful, and he submitted it to the guy who creates Bomb Queen, and he said he was going to publish it in an upcoming issue. So it'll probably be in number 4 if it's the final one of the miniseries. So if you want to help Loopy Dave and see a printed work, pick that issue up.
I think it's Fantasy Girls Volume 2, the trade paperback from the Luna Brothers, and
I didn't see the first volume. Wow,
yeah.
Behind on that.
And also the Stupid comics, if you like Jim Mahfood, which actually I do. That's worth picking up.
Battlestar Galactica fans, there's a new comic book coming out from I forget who. 25-cent issue. Who is it?
Dynamite.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not usually big on television cartoon. Yeah. I mean television comic books.
Which I realize I've been saying Dynamite is part of Dynamic Forces, and it's not. So that's my bad.
For Jim Lee fans, Red Sonja, I think issue 12 has Jim Lee covers. I think issue 11 solicited in this previews, but keep an eye out for that if you like Jim Lee covers.
Civil War?
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to get that. Nothing's going to happen in it, I'm sure. Either that or it will be one issue.
I think we're going to...
So everybody tell me what issue to get, and then I'll read that one.
I'll get the miniseries, but I think I'm going to go to Golden Eagle for all the tie-ins. Because I got the first one, that Road to one with Amazing Spider-Man with his...
I read that, too.
Yeah.
I got
New
it.
costume?
Yeah. God, it was Ron Garney on the artwork. I was like, ugh. It's painful to go through. Sorry, Ron. I I'm just not a fan, I'm just not a fan.
Your artwork makes my eyes bleed.
Especially because, I'm not a fan of the costume, too, so it's like double shit. I'm going in there with hating it already, But the story was, it was an interesting story, so I'm looking forward to it. But some of the other ones...
I did like the story.
Yeah. So some of the She-Hulk, I think, is one. The Wolverine one.
They said in the Civil War panel that definitely pick up She-Hulk. That's one of the ones you really, if you're only going to pick up some, that's one you should really pick up.
Right. So I'll go to Golden Eagle and look at it and see if I want to get it.
God, my Marvel list is huge.
Mine actually shrank this month.
It's crazy.
Was it Cold Water?
Yeah.
I have 9 trades or hardcovers from Marvel alone. I have the Captain America Winter Soldier, the second hardcover's coming out. There's actually a resolicitation back to the press for Daredevil Volume 3 hardcover, which is the only one I'm missing. I have 1, 2, and 4.
Oh, that's good.
Then I want to check out that Firestar digest.
Oh, yeah, that I'm getting.
It's a digest, and it's old school stuff, which I don't have, so I want to read it.
When I saw that, I said, I hope they do all their miniseries from 84, 85, and 6, because they're worth it. They're so worth it.
Well, and Firestar, come on.
Yeah.
Anybody who's a Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends fan should get that.
Well, I do have a thing for redheads.
And then the Sentinel, the third digest of that is out, which collects the more recent miniseries. So I'm telling you, if you haven't read the first 2, you should. So I'm very excited about the third one here. Another Ultimate Spider-Man trade.
So what?
Ultimate X-Men trade.
If they collect the entire Captain America story, will you get that? Instead of the 2, you have 2 hardcover trades, right? The first part and the second part. What if they come out with like a giant
oversized
edition?
hardcover? Nah, because I already have the hardcovers. Again, I'm not buying another one.
Okay.
I gotta ask: does anybody, even I know nobody here, at least I would hope not, X-Men, Apocalypse, and Dracula? Who would read that?
Same people that brought that Justice League classified the Metal Wars or whatever.
Steel.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't Cold Steel or something like that. I didn't get that.
New Thunderbolts Volume 3 trade. What's with the Black Panther? I think I was having this. Did I have this conversation with you, Jamie?
I don't know.
Or I don't know. I was so pissed because. Okay,
yeah, you were.
Yes, you did. This is the second Black Panther trade, but it collects issues 10 through 13. Well, the first hardcover. The first one was available in hardcover. Now the second one's in trade. That one was like either 1 through 5 or 1 through 6. So that means I'm missing either 6, 7, 8, and 9, or 7, 8, and 9. It's like, well, what exactly trade were those in? Because this is the second trade. So now there's just 3 or 4 issues missing?
Was that when he crossed over with the X-Men?
Well, that's what Jamie said. It's like, but how am I supposed to know that? If I'm looking for Black Panther, I'm going to be looking for Black Panther Volume 2, and now I see... So now, you know what? I'm thinking, screw Black Panther, I'm done with it. If I'm missing 3 issues or 4 issues, I don't freaking care anymore. I was going to keep reading because I really, really enjoyed the first trade. I thought it was fantastic. And I might like this too, but I'll never know because I'm missing issues and homie don't play that. Pisses me.
Bad mother.
What a stupid name too.
Did you see, Brian, Archangel Bowen bust?
No, I didn't.
It's nice.
Don't tell me.
Oh, here's that X-Men Fairy Tales #1 by C.B. Cebulski.
There it is. Wow,
104.
that's cool.
Which I plan on getting that.
Yeah.
The third Hulk Visionaries by Peter David's out. Have you been getting those, Jamie, or do you have all the issues?
I have the first one. I was going to get the second one, but it was only 35%, so I figured I'd pick it up sometime down the road.
Because I just finished reading the second one, so I'm ready
I don't have those first ones. I started picking Hulk up when he was writing it around the time of Countdown.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With Walt Simonson and...
Hey, to go back to the Civil War, if you could choose, which cover would you want to get? The regular
there are multiple covers. Where do I see that?
The regular bookshelf one. It's on page 29.
The one that's not by Michael Turner.
And then the Michael Turner one.
Oh, come on. The other one's Steve McNiven with Maury Holloway.
Yeah,
Maury did it too.
Definitely the one with
How am I not
going
to pick that one?
I kind of like the Michael Turner one a little bit.
Looks too much like Identity Crisis to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess it does.
Really, I can see it, but I kind of get a Secret Wars kind of feel from it.
Yeah, I kind of.
I just like when the artist in the book draws the cover. Assuming that the artist on the interior is a good artist. Right.
One that I railed against the other handbooks, but I did pick up the 60s handbook, and this Marvel Legacy, the 70s handbook, is actually, they're both a lot of fun. I picked up the 60s.
I'm going to get the 70s
and
one.
And enjoyed it, and the 70s looks like a lot of fun, too.
And the second volume of the Essential Official Handbook of the Marvel Universe, or Ohatmu, as they would say on the forum.
Oh, you can't, Morrison fans, you can't go wrong with Skrull Kill, and Mark Miller, I should say. Skrull Kill Crew Trade paperback. They're hard. They're not hard to find, but I know I haven't seen them around in a lot of back issue bins. I used to own the 5 issues, but it's just a crazy, over the top kind of story. So check that out. It's all there in one trade for you.
Again, falling right into my theory.
Yeah,
about the scrolls
that's
and
right.
bringing them all back and this changing and all that fun stuff.
Hey, I see here Planet Hulk. Is he stupid now, or is he smart again?
I'm staying away from Planet Hulk. There's too many damn events going on right now.
I think he's like an amalgam now. I think he's kind of... He's not like he was when he was the head of the Pantheon, but he's smarter than Hulk Smash.
Okay.
All right, does anybody think, though, that all of these events, Hulk World and Civil War and Annihilation, all of them are going to come together, actually? I mean, is that a plan?
I mean...
Depends if DC does it first.
Because I'm staying away from Planet Hulk because I'm not...
Well, Planet Hulk, I mean, I don't know how much I want to say, is a result of something else. Not the entire event, but why he's out there. And I think the answer is yes, but I don't know exactly.
I was just curious because they seem to have like, and maybe I'm comparing it wrong, but it seems like they have all these little mini events, and I'm wondering what's going to connect the dots here because I don't read every single Marvel book.
It'll come soon. The why it's all going on.
Okay. Yeah. Just curious. Anybody else getting Planet Hulk?
No. Nope.
Dipping into some other publications. I saw if you look at under can't remember the name, but Abadazad is solicited that J.M. DeMatteis was talking about.
Yeah, I saw that. It's in the books, isn't it?
Yeah, here it is. Hyperion Books, page 293. Abadazad Book 1, The Road to Inconceivable. Abadazad Book 2, The Dream Thief by J.M. DeMatteis and Mike Plug. Both are $9.99.
Hero Squared, number 2 ongoing, is solicited from Boom. Speaking of JM.
Abadazad right next to Miko's Sexual Orgy Diary. Don't want to get those two confused.
Everybody see the Transformers Matrix of Leadership replica?
Yeah, by Art Asylum.
Jane already ordered one.
No. Not that big of a Transformers fan. I love it, but no.
Yeah, I don't, that's crazy.
But you get the key.
It's crazy talk.
You get the key. Yeah, if I don't get the Batman utility belt, there's no way I'm getting a Leadership of Matrix thing.
Terry Moore countdown to the end of Strangers in Paradise. Only 8 more issues to go. Number 82.
What book is that?
Strangers in Paradise.
Okay, just checking.
From Boom Studios, there's something called Exile, number 1. Kind of look like, they say it's like in the tradition of Jurassic Park, but it kind of reminds me of like Lost. It's like there are people stranded on an island and there's some strange creatures running around, so it's probably an unfair comparison, but I saw that. Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Excellent.
I was just going to ask, did anyone read the Spider-Man Black Cat, The Evil That Men Do?
Not after the first 3 issues.
Okay, because I see the hardcovers here, and it kind of seemed interesting, but after that long break, to get back into it, just...
Is that the whole series?
It's supposed to be
the
whole thing.
Maybe if I find it in an 80% off bin.
Yeah, that's my little
90% off.
That's my little protest. I will not finish that one.
Exactly. Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, me either.
I thought this was interesting. I hadn't heard about this, but that Series 13 that Alias was publishing from the number 1 selling comic in Europe of all time, it's now moved to the Dable Brothers Productions, and they're soliciting the trade, and I have to find out if the trade from Alias is canceled because I had ordered it from Alias, but now it's being offered from the Dable Brothers, so I don't know. I guess they bought the license out from Alias. I'm not exactly sure what's happening with that, so... It seems to be a big up-and-coming studio, the Dable Brothers Productions. I haven't read anything from them yet, but some of their stuff looks really good.
Wasn't there a TV series like that? 13 on? From the description, it sounds
It was
like
a video game.
Interesting.
Well, there was a TV series Fox had about 4 seasons ago about a guy who woke up and couldn't remember. He couldn't remember who he was, but he knew everything.
Wait,
It
is
was
that the
actually a
one
pretty
that-
cool series.
That he could only see in black and white, except for certain things were in color.
Oh, yeah, I kind of
I don't remember that
too.
part of it, but I remember like he knew. He was like a walking encyclopedia.
Yeah.
He knew every fact that could be known. He knew it, but he just didn't know anything about himself. So it's like the guy in 13 wakes up and he doesn't know who he is, but it's pretty different at that point.
That series, I think, is on somewhere again. I just saw that on Sci-Fi Channel or something funky like
It's
that.
a guy from Prison Break.
Yeah.
At the bottom, Brian, it says resolicited from previews, volume 15, number 10, October, due to rescheduling. So I think that's probably canceled.
You'll get a credit for that.
Back issue has a spotlight on G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Speaking of G.I. Joe, are you reading that, Shane?
I have them. I have everything
America's
from
Elite, the new series?
Yep, I'm picking it up. I'm still behind from the previous incarnation that Devil's Due had.
Because they have a special, the Hunt for Cobra Commander 25-cent issue from Devil's Due this month.
I'm ordering that.
I mean, 25 cents. How can you go wrong?
That's one of my more or less like guilty pleasure books that I am going to read at some point. There's just other things that take precedence before G.I. Joe, but I couldn't not get it.
I saw Cobra Commander walking around the New York Con.
Yeah.
Shane only likes to read.
Destro.
I like the Baroness.
Shane only likes to read G.I. Joe when he has his figures out that he can play at the same time.
I try and reenact everything. Yeah.
Yo, Joe!
Actually, I used to set them up in my bedroom.
Cobra Commander.
And I'd have a spot where I'd set up pillows or cups or something, and whenever anybody crossed that line, they were in a universe where they could fly and have superpowers, so I like melded my universes together.
I do remember in some...
and he just admitted this. So this is like therapy, isn't it?
In some,
Oh, yeah.
In some speech I gave in college, I ended it with, "And knowing is half the battle."
On page...
Family Guy spoofed that, too, which was funny.
Page 286, the Comics Journal 276 has a spotlight on Terry Moore and Strangers in Paradise.
Oh, look at that.
I'll have to add that to my list now. I didn't even see that. The first time I looked through previews, now I saw it, and I'm like, oh,
I know, I keep
that's kind of cool.
bookmarking pages now I have to revisit.
There's no way I can order anything else. I have to find things to slash unless I find a job before the end of the month.
Oh, yeah, one of those. Actually, I was looking at one of the books that we had talked about a little while ago, and we had mentioned of the Eisners winning for best digital comic. They're printing Mom's Cancer Year, or Mom's Cancer, I should say, which won the Eisner. That was one Athena Voltaire was up for also. So if you're interested in checking that out,
What page?
204. It's $12.95. It's a hardcover. And from what I hear, it's supposed to be excellent. I mean, the guy Steve Bryant was saying that was really good.
I see they have a Scarlet Spider bust, mini
Yeah,
bust.
I actually like that.
I did too. I didn't really have a problem with the character.
No, me either. I like Ben Reilly. That Mom's Cancer, I saw that up at New York Comic Con. I saw something about that, and I meant to go back and stop, and I didn't.
Dead air.
Kind of a small, not small month as far as ordering, but like, other than 52, nothing really jumps out for me, as far as like Die Hard Can't Wait.
Well, you know what the thing is that we're so used to all these events or crossovers.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of normalized right now. You know, I mean, other than what's the events that are out there, everything's just kind of back to
Well, you figure
where it needs to be.
one's slowing down, the other one's building up.
Right. Exactly.
Well, and Matt, me and Peter, I know, read the first part of the Batman, the 1 year later Batman with a detective.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. It's I liked it.
I'll be happy to get off the ride.
Tomorrow's has a G-Force issue
that.
all about G-Force and Battle of the Planets and Gotcha Man, whatever you want to call it. That'll be interesting.
I want someone to come up with a Battlestar Star Blazers one like that. Another, give me a new version, new volume.
Get Alex to write it, and then tomorrow's will publish it.
That'd be good.
It's like Top Shelf has 2 new books out. 110%, and Cry Yourself to Sleep, which both look interesting.
Tasha's like more than halfway through that box office poison that she got already.
Really?
Yeah.
She's not bedridden, is she? I mean,
she's just plowing
Man.
through it.
Is she enjoying that Marley and Me, or did she finish that?
She finished that. Yeah.
I almost cracked open blankets, but I couldn't focus this week, so I was like, I better save this for a time when I can actually make some work.
Focus.
I'll be like 50 and starting
Focus
that.
power.
Yeah.
Till I get that.
New issue of Jack Kirby Collector focuses on Forever People and New Gods, and Dark Side cover.
Looking forward to that.
Cool dark side cover.
I got like 3 books I've started right now that I'm trying to get through. From Hell. V
You're
for
still
Vendetta.
trying to get through From Hell.
Well, I had to put down for a little bit because I was taking. So I got V from Vendetta that I just started. I got plus the comics I just got in the mail. So it's
I have to start
plus
that
stuff
tonight.
from work. It's like I'm trying to do a little bit of everything.
I'm going to say what you say to me. Damn job, you need to quit that.
Well, let's not get on that rant.
It's getting damn close.
Yeah. Micromanaging is teetering out the door there.
I got to ask this. I love Nightcrawler, but what's with the swashbuckling Nightcrawler bust?
Wasn't that from his own series?
Yep.
Was it? I didn't read that series.
Yeah, series.
I just wondered where that was from.
That's like his big fantasy. He always wants to be that.
Yeah,
kind of
I've
person.
read that a few times in X-Men.
That I didn't remember.
A few statue fans out there. Looks like an Invincible statue. Then Walking Dead coming soon, which I kind of curious to see what they do with that.
Yeah.
Plus, any Liberty Meadows fans, there's a new comic in there. Plus, I've seen this stuff at the shows. The statue of I can't think of her name now. Brandy, the Brandy statue, and of course the plush Oscar and Truman. If you loved that series.
How about the
pick those up?
The She-Hulk statue? I mean, not She-Hulk. Jesus. Savage Dragon.
The Savage Sea Dragon.
Savage Sea Dragon.
Yeah.
Savage
Shukrin Shukatash.
Does anyone know if they're gonna start an ongoing Angel series? Because
I don't see why not.
They
They
have
have
the
one of everything
miniseries
else.
kind of.
Yeah, that old Friends, which actually I've read the first one now, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, the old Friends is actually. I'm enjoying that a little bit more just because that more picks up from not exactly where the series ended, but it picks up a little bit more with the other characters.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's I read the first one so far, and at least Gunn's back, so you find out a little bit about what happened to him.
But because now I see they're doing spotlights.
I'm doing off the rack.
Sure. Since we're talking comics.
Yeah.
We're off the rack.
I just read issue number 1 of the Key Fu Fighters from Rock's Box.
Everybody talk about Key Fu fighting.
Its target audience is kids, pre-teens, early teens, something like that, I would say. And I thought it was cool. The artwork is awesome. It really is. And the story was kind of your traditional, good versus evil story. But the characters seem pretty cool. Todd Wanish, who we met at the show, is the writer. And Greta, would you get the hell out of here? There you go. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it just sets up the story, and I want to read issue 2 because I'm very curious what happens. And if you have kids out there, I would definitely recommend picking this up for them. I would give it 4 out of 5 freaking Swears.
I'm gonna borrow that and
you
take
didn't
it
get a
home,
copy?
read it.
I have copies. There's copies there for everyone.
I'm gonna grab one. I had Ben. We were watching Pokemon, and he seemed into it. I mean, out of all those type of cartoons, I like that. And I see this in the back. They have those cards made up.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of looks Pokemon-ish.
Yeah,
in that same vein.
It's a little more serious, and the story is cooler.
No goddamn Pikachu.
Yeah.
Sadly, he's my favorite.
Got your goddamn Pikachu right here.
Who's next?
I'll go. Actually, I read 2 that I wanted to talk about. One from each of the big 2 companies. I finally got a chance to read. I can't remember the damn name, the exact name. It's the one with Misty Knight and Daughters of the Dragon, the new series. it was nicely set up. The artwork I thought was really nice. I should have written down who drew it, but go to your store. I'm sure they have some copies there. Issue number 1 kind of sets up the story, and it's interesting enough now that I held off on getting the rest of them until I read this first one, but now I'm going to have to go to the shop and pick up, I think they're up to number 3, and I got a chance to sit down and read the new Sergeant Rock, The Prophecy, by Joe Kubert, and that was really, 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 really good. If you like the old stuff, you'll love it. I think this is the best artwork I've seen him do in quite a while. I had picked up that War is Hell, the one that he did with Brian Azzarello, and I thought his artwork kind of slipped in that one. I wasn't really that thrilled with it, but this one, his artwork is back. The story is interesting. Again, it's like slipping into a comfortable pair of shoes for him. It must be for him to be writing this stuff and drawing it again, because you can really tell. I mean, it's right there from the first page. You know, that's Sergeant Rock again, and Easy Company, and it's basically about their mission. They're doing some kind of mission where they've been dropped into the battlefield between the Soviets and the Germans. They have to do some kind of extract something from there. They don't know what it is, and it's a really good setup issue, and I'm looking forward to the rest of them.
I read a couple things. I picked up a copy of Jew Gangster while we were in New York, and talking to Joe Kubert, I read that and I thought it was fantastic. I know a while ago Brian had talked about it, but I recommend that to anybody. When I got to the end, I wanted more, not because I felt like the story needed more, but just because I wanted more because I enjoyed it that much. It was a good read, and his artwork was fantastic in that. So I got the Sergeant Rock stuff, and I'm excited to read that. I also read the Batman Annual number 25 and the first issue of Detective with the 1 year later story. And there's a good discussion on the forum about the Annual and the resolution of Jason Todd, which I liked. It's a good discussion, and I really enjoyed that issue. I was fine with all the explanations they gave for everything, and I was intrigued and liked how they explained everything concerning him, so I didn't have a problem with it at all. And the year 1 with James Robinson writing, I loved it. It was a good setup issue, and I'm really curious to find out what happens during that missing year that sets everything up to where it is now. So that was the current things I read. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just finished up the last issue of Gotham Knights, and I was kind of disappointed because it ends on kind of a cliffhanger. But it almost seems as though they could have gone another issue, but since it was the last issue of a 2-part storyline, it just crammed in a 3-issue into 2. So you had so much going on in one issue, and then it wasn't resolved, so it was kind of a letdown. And I just started to read Green Lantern number 9, which I picked up because, Batman's in there, and I knew that there would be some paybacks kind of from the Rebirth. But that I'm kind of disappointed with as well, because I can't get into John's writing Batman. Well, at least the way he is now. I think after Infinite Crisis, it's going to flow in all right. But so I'm not really getting into that. That's about it.
I read The Dark Age, that Tomorrow's book. That I just noticed I didn't write down who wrote it. It's probably in the other
right
rooms.
over there, right?
Oh, is it over here? It's
maybe not.
was based on a 3-part newspaper series from January of 97. The same name. It was published in CBG. Does it have it listed there?
Mark Voger.
Okay, that's right. From someone who knows a lot of the information that's in the book, there wasn't much more I got from that era. I thought for me, when I think of that time, that collector frenzy, or what was going on in comics at that time, it's always like, what was the new hot thing? Why did everybody imitate it? Or it blew up and everybody was imitating it, and then why did it all collapse? And he's really focused. He focuses really well on the first 2 of those things for me, but the third one I was kind of missing a little bit. But if you have no idea about that time, it is a great book. It's divided up into like all these different chapters, and they're usually about 2 or 4 pages long, and they talk about everything from, like Image and Todd McFarlane and comic companies at that time, Milestone. They talk about the death of Superman, Valiant. They do this whole thing at the end about gimmick covers and all this crazy kind of stuff. So he has a lot of information about why these things were tried, why they really were successful at that time. Like I said, for my money, I kind of lost the why it all failed, because I think that's an important part of that time. As much as you can say Silver Age is about the explosion of all these ideas and the resurgence of comics. At this time, whatever this time becomes, whatever it's called, Dark Age, whatever you want to call it, it collapsed. There was a definite collapse. So I think that's part of it that probably could have been explored a little more. Maybe if he ever does a second one, it'll be there. They did a spotlight on the Nam. They did a spotlight on Michael Uslan on Batman, Jim Salicrup on Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man #1. They did a little thing on Howard Simpson, the Valiant artist, and Defiant, and how they used gimmicks to sell their comics. So those articles I really, really liked, because I've never really read too much about that. So for me personally, because I knew about 80% of the information, I wanted a little bit more. But if you don't know about this era, that's a great book. It's all right there in one package, The Dark Age. It's got Spawn's big head on the cover. So check that out. It's from Tomorrow's Publishing.
That was a nice transition there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very nice.
Almost flawless.
All right, Peter. This Stump the Rios was sent in by Tim DeMar. It's an all-Titans Stump the Rios.
Never give him something he knows.
Question 1. In the early 80s, DC had optioned a Titans animated series. What kept them from making it?
I think they couldn't use Robin, because he was used by some other cartoon or some other network or something like that.
The rights to Robin were already held by another animation company. Question 2. In what issue was Wonder Girl's civilian name revealed? And before that, what was her civilian name?
Yikes. The earliest name I can think of is Donna Hinckley, but that's from the New Teen Titans stuff, so I don't know. He might be asking from the original series. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
It was revealed in Teen Titans number 22. Before that, she never had an established secret identity. So what was the name revealed to be?
Donna Prince.
Donna Drake.
Donna Drake. Drake. Wow.
Love the Drake.
Question 3. Who did Dan Jurgens want to be the mentor to the Titans?
Grandma Moses. What kind of question is that?
That's not a good question. I don't like that question. I'm throwing it out.
Oh, Jamie
judge.
That's just. It's like you read an article somewhere where Dan Jurgens talked about that. That's out of here.
Ouch. Yeah, because I don't remember that from any of the Dan Jurgens books.
Out
like
of
it's
here.
not.
The answer he has is Wildcat.
Whoa.
Out of here.
So I got.
We've never thrown out a question before, so this one, out of here.
Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Bum bum bum. The Jamie has spoken.
All right.
So that's a quarter.
So we're gonna revisit our new monthly topic here, and the numbers.
The Mayo Report.
That's right. The Mayo Report.
So Brian's going to get John Mayo on the phone, and he has a look at. They released January's numbers a couple weeks back, and he uses his own kind of methods and looks at those and looks at some other charts. He's got a whole bunch of things that he picked out that he wants to spotlight. So we'll give him the next couple minutes as Brian gets him on the phone.
Hello?
Hello, John.
Yes.
Hey, John, it's Brian Deemer. How are you?
Pretty good. How about you?
Very well. You're on the air with all the guys.
Cool.
Hi, John.
Hi.
How you doing, John?
I'm doing all right. How about all you guys?
Very well.
Pretty good.
Excellent.
Cool.
Day by day.
So, we're talking about January numbers. We haven't actually started yet, so you sent a whole bunch of notes, and you sent your chart, your top 300 chart. So why don't you go ahead and just take it?
Okay, let's start with the market shares, because that seems to be what a lot of people are interested in. I broke them out into 3 different sections for the market shares. The one is what Diamond provides, which is the overall share. Now, according to that, Marvel had like 42% in units and about 37% in dollars, where DC had 37% for units and 35% for dollars. Everybody else well under 5% pretty much. Dark Horse had about 5% in dollars, Image about 3%, little over. That includes everything comics, trades, and everything else in previews. Now, I tend to find it more interesting just to be looking at the comics or just the trades, because that gives you, kind of a more level playing field for the publishers. And I think gives it a bit more realistic data. So, if you look just at the comics, in January, Marvel had a total of 86 items in the top 300 comics, as did DC. Now, for Marvel, 67 of them were new items, and 19 of them were reorder items. And just within the top comics area, Marvel had an overwhelming majority in units, with about 45%, and about the same in terms of the dollar share. So, I mean, it clearly dominated. DC came in a fairly close second, with about 40% market share for units and about 39 for dollars. Now, what I found really interesting, though, was Dark Horse this month. Dark Horse only had 11 comics, and it had no reorder items this month. And it did about $500,000 in sales for comics. Now, it's only about 3% of the market share. But the really fascinating part is when you compare how it did in trades. In trades, Dark Horse also did about $500,000. Now, in the trade market, or trade area, that's about a 17% market share by units and about a 14% by dollars. So that gives you an idea of, just kind of the size of the pie that these companies are dividing up. Now, likewise, over in the trade area, DC had a fairly strong month with about a 35% market share by unit and about 37% by dollar. Whereas Marvel trailed quite a bit behind that with a 25% market share by unit and about a 31% by dollar. So when you see that, according to Diamond G, Marvel had a great month and stuff, well, it did. It was just much stronger in the comic book area than in the trade paperback area. That's pretty much all I have on the market shares for the big guys. Most of the other companies, once you get past, IDW, Image, Dynamic, and Devil's Due, everybody's got like under 0.5% of the market share, either by units or by dollars. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when you're looking at these, market share, we often have a topic that comes up sometimes is people say, well, are Image and Dark Horse, are they really independents now because they're so mainstream? But when you look at it, and each of them only have 3% of the market share, you go, oh, that's pretty independent. I mean...
Yeah, it really comes down to how do you want to define the terms. I find it useful to divide it into really 3 groups. You've got the big boys, which is Marvel and DC. Then you've got this mid-range group, Image, Dark Horse, maybe IDW, certainly CrossGen and Valiant back when they were around. And they do somewhere around, a 5% market share. and then you've got everybody else who's like a 1% or under. And typically, I think everybody will agree those are, kind of the quote-unquote true independents. But to me, it's a nebulous distinction. When you consider the fact that out of the 263 items that were new this month versus, the 37 that were reorder items, which were almost exclusively items from Marvel, DC, or Image. But out of the new items, about 3/4 of them are what we would consider, I guess, mainstream publishers. Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, IDW, and the like. And only about 1/4 of them would be what would be considered independents. So, obviously the discussion, both in terms of sales and just comics overall, is almost always going to gravitate towards, Marvel, DC, Image, just because they put out the majority of the material.
Yeah.
All right.
Or go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, what do you have next, then?
I was going to jump into the top 300 comics.
Okay.
Obviously, the number one comic out this month, surprise, surprise, Infinite Crisis number 4. It was down about 13,000 copies from the previous issue, which isn't a bad drop. And that drop includes all the reorder activity from this month for that previous issue, number 3. So really, it's selling pretty strong and pretty consistent, which I see as a good sign.
With 2 covers, we should make that people aware of that.
That's true. That's a very good point, because it's hard to tell how much of the sales is due to people like me who got both covers, and how much is just individual readers or whatnot.
Right.
Excellent point.
Now, how many copies did that sell?
That sold around 182,600 copies, according to Comic Buyer's Guide.
Okay.
And for this month, I've been reworking how I'm doing my numbers and stuff, and for this month I'm using the Comic Buyer's Guide numbers. Number 2 item on the list, very interesting, All-Star Superman number 2, and it sold fairly strongly at 124,300 copies or thereabouts. Nice, strong numbers, good numbers for a number 2 slot. What's really interesting, though, is it's down about a little over 50,000 copies from the first issue. I mean, that's just a huge drop. Now, a lot of that is retailers always order big on, a number 1, particularly one that got hyped as much as this, and they hadn't had time to really see how those sales did before ordering the number 2 issue.
And there was also, it wasn't a 50-50 split, but there was a variant cover on number 1.
Okay.
There was a Neil Adams variant cover. So for this second one to not have a variant cover and not that's still kind of an impressive amount.
Well, it's about a 40% drop.
Right.
So, now, from my own vantage point, I thought the second issue was better than the first, but, I mean, quality has nothing to do with sales.
Right.
I'm really hoping we don't see a similar drop for number 3 and so on. Just because, I mean, it's selling really well right now, but, man, 50,000 issue drops can kill a title really quick.
Yeah.
Now, the next 3 titles I want to talk about are Amazing Spider-Man 528, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 4, and Marvel Knights Spider-Man number 22.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all 3 of those are part of the big crossover storyline of The Other. All 3 of those also showed some pretty strong increases this month. Amazing Spider-Man, which is almost always the top-selling Spider-Man title, sold about 95,400 copies, and that's up about 5,400 copies from the previous issue. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man sold 78,600 copies, and that's up about 6,300 copies. And Marvel Knights Spider-Man 22 sold 74,900 copies, and that's up about 2,600 copies. Now, obviously, all of these are due, I think, to the other storyline. There is the whole variant cover issues and stuff like that. I'm not sure if Diamond is tracking those with separate order numbers or not, because one of the titles, it was Amazing Spider-Man 527, sold 10,700 copies in reorders. And I'm not sure how much of that's true reorders versus, second printing variant cover. But, whether you like the storyline or not, it's a clear indication that when you do a big event storyline like the other, sales go up. 5,000 or 6,000 copy jump is very good in this day and age.
To keep having an increase even by the third or the fourth issue of that title, that's pretty substantial.
Well, I think a lot of it goes towards, at least myself as a reader, I want to be reading a story that, matters in the overall scheme of the character. And certainly they've been hyping it, 6 Ways to Sunday for the other, that this is going to, radically change Spider-Man and, presumably have lasting effects. Whether or not it turns out to be the case or not, time will tell. But, I certainly think that's why even this late into the storyline, we're getting these bumps. The real question is going to be whether these titles can hang on to these new readers. Now, the next title that I found really interesting was Ultimate X-Men number 66. This sold 73,700 copies. Now, that's down only about 600 copies from the previous issue. So, on the surface, it looks to be a fairly stable title. And by and large, I would agree with that. Unfortunately, if you start to take the long look at this title, it's been doing a pretty steady decline since about issue 36, at which point it was selling, over, I believe, 100,000 copies at that point. Now, there have been a few issues like issue 50 and issue 61 where they've had some bumps, but by and large, those bumps last an issue or two, and then this is another one that has the standard attrition, sales cycle. You lose a couple of readers every month or whatnot. Eventually, it catches up to you. Now, whether they're going to be able to do some major event in the Ultimate Universe and, kick this up another, 20, 30,000 issues and then have it swing back down, I don't know.
Didn't they just change the writer on that, too? Somebody big's coming on that? Kirkman. Robert Kirkman's coming on, so that should attract some new readers.
I certainly hope so. He's a good writer, and I think he could do a lot with the book. What's really interesting, though, also with Ultimate X-Men is the Comics and Games Retailer magazine, which is a sister publication to Comic Buyer's Guide, polls retailers and ranks the titles by how well the retailers say they sell. Now, this is just a numerical ranking. It doesn't give any indication on actual number of copies sold. But what's really interesting is with Ultimate X-Men, for the past couple of months, it's been selling less than, or ranking less than on the sales from retailers to readers than it has on how the retailers have been ordering it, which indicates they've been kind of chasing those numbers down. Hopefully it'll start to level off. Hopefully the new creative team will give it, a shot in the arm. But, we'll see how that goes. Now, the next title I want to talk about is ranked number 17, and it's the Day of Vengeance Infinite Crisis Special. It sold 67,500 copies, which is pretty good. It's only down about 3,000 copies from the last issue of Day of Vengeance, the actual mini-series. So it did lose a few readers, but really not that much. So I think it's a good, strong sign that the Infinite Crisis stuff is really working for DC, and, we'll see how much of this momentum they can carry forward into the 1 year later. Now,
well, if my comic buying this Wednesday is to be any judge, Jesus, I went out of there with all 1 year later that came out this week. Even that Blood of the Demon mess.
Oh, you're crazy. I didn't pick that one up.
You didn't pick that one up?
Nope, that one I didn't.
You're a better man than I.
Demon's one of the characters I've just never gotten into, but, based on what I'm reading on the forums and whatnot, a lot of people are seeing this as a good jumping-on point.
Right.
I think a few are also using it as a jumping-off point for titles they were, on the edge on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I think it'll do fairly well for DC, at least initially. It'll be interesting to see in a couple of months how many of these new readers they're able to keep.
Right. Yeah, because I saw that you have on here, not to jump around, but, you have Aquaman listed here at 107, Aquaman 38, which the new 1 year later issue is issue 40. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of jump that pushes, what kind of push it gives it.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about Aquaman for a second then.
Good.
It sold about 18,300 copies, which is down about 1,300 from the previous issue, which is about a 6 or 7% drop. Now, what's interesting is a lot of the reason they're making the changes into the new Aquaman Sword of Atlantis, with all the changes for the 1 year later, is because it was on the chopping block. It was one of those that was under consideration of, do we continue with this title or not? So rather than just dump it, they said, well, let's do a major revamp and see what happens.
Right.
So, I mean, that gives us a good indication of kind of where that danger zone is for a mainstream DC book. I mean, once it drops below, 20,000 and stuff, it's, pretty much on life support at best.
You have Marvel Team Up highlighted at 99. What's that about?
It had a minor drop-off from of about 100 copies, of about 0.5% from the previous issue. It did pretty well in number 14 with Invincible guest starring, and it seems to be starting to level off. If you chart the long-term sales, it's still dropping, but it's almost getting to be a flat line right around 20,000. So I'm hoping, it's found its audience. It should get good word of mouth because, Robert Kirkman's a good writer and has a following. Hopefully we'll start to see it pick up. Yeah. It's still a little too close to the danger zone for a Marvel title for my comfort level.
Yeah, me too.
Well, not only, just because of the quality.
Yeah, it's a good book, and he's able to, take some characters that just aren't getting the spotlight and whatnot, and use them and do some stuff with them, which I think is great. It's hard for a character to really get a following with readers if the character is never used. So, the fact that he's using this as kind of a sampler of, aspects of the Marvel Universe that just don't see the light of day that often, I think is great. So.
How about a few more here? What else do you got?
Okay, Superman Shazam First Thunder. It sold just under 49,000 copies, which is a drop of about 5,700, which is about 10%. Now, this is one that, I'm assuming they solicited on a monthly basis, but it's been like 2 months since the previous issue came out, number 2, which I attribute a lot of this drop-off for issue 3 on. And now, we're, 2 months later, and I don't think number 4's come out either. It goes back to, if you want to build an audience, you've got to do it on a timely basis.
Right.
Plus,
the interest is probably waning off because of all the changes that are happening with Captain Marvel now.
Exactly. He was in a totally different place, then versus now. It's been, 4 months since actually a lot longer than that since the series started. Readers get bored, I think, fairly quickly.
Hey, I want to jump all the way down to 289. You have Atomica listed.
Yes, I do. I was floored by the numbers on this. It's Atomica number 6. It sold 1,200 copies.
Mm-hmm.
That's a drop of about 3,500 copies from the previous issue. Now, the previous issue was also under Mercury, just like this one, so I can't really attribute it to having left Speakeasy and people couldn't find it in the previews or something.
Mm-hmm.
I have no clue why this dropped so hard so fast.
When was 5 listed? Was that previous? Was this, or was there a delay from this issue, or what?
I don't think so. I would have to look that up. I'm pretty sure it's been coming out fairly regularly. I believe it shipped, number 6 shipped on January 25th, number 5 on December 14, and number 4, though, had a couple of months prior to that because that was in August 17th was when number 4 shipped.
Okay.
But we're still only talking about a month between issues 5 and 6, so I don't think it was a delay that caused it.
Do you think maybe the delay between 4 and 5, which was when the actual shift to company happened, to a different company, that was 5 maybe solicited early but just never came out? so that by the time 6 was actually solicited, that's why you're seeing the drop-off?
That could be. I would have to check when these were actually solicited and whatnot. Certainly, I think the drop between issues 4 and 5, which was about, say, 1,600 copies or whatnot, was due partially to the delay and probably more to switching publishers to going self-published. I think whenever you move a title, around from publisher to publisher, it's easy for retailers and readers just to lose sight of it.
All right, you got here at 188. You got Uncle Scrooge 350. What are you doing to me?
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Okay.
No, actually,
but his numbers went up
pretty good though for a non-superhero title. I mean, it's 4,800 copies, only down about 100, so it's selling pretty consistently.
It's expensive, $6.95. Wow.
Yeah. Particularly like you said, when you factor in that cover price. But I mean, it's classic Uncle Scrooge stuff. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, I guess.
When my boy picks it out every time we go to the store, and I try to steer him away because $6.95, man, he's just going to destroy it. So I got to wait till he gets a little older before I start paying that kind of money for stuff.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. That's a hefty price tag.
How about okay? What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was going to say, I was just curious. You had highlighted the all-new official handbook of the Marvel Universe A to Z.
Yeah, that one, obviously, you guys have talked about quite a bit. I've read through the first 2 issues, agree with a lot of Jamie's comments on that. It's going to be very interesting to see where this one goes. It started out with number 1 selling 23,400 copies. I expect it's going to have a decent drop-off in issue 2, probably 3, but by about 4 or 5, I think it's going to find its audience and level out pretty easily there.
As long as they don't cancel it halfway through, I'd be pissed.
There is that concern. There was actually a thread on the forums where somebody was asking, how can they afford to do a 64-page book for $4 when everything else costs, close to that for half the content or whatnot. The nice thing with this title is, they're not paying for the art because most of it's just go grab this panel out of, this other comic that we've already done. I don't know who they have doing the write-ups and stuff, but I'm sure they're not paying them. They're paying those people probably on salary versus a page rate.
Exactly.
This is probably a much more economical book to put together, even at the larger size with no ads.
And the cover quality is not the same as what the other official handbooks were. They were cardstock covers, and this one is not.
Yeah.
So production values are probably down on this one.
And I don't really think the art on the covers is quite as catching as the one they've done for the individual teams and whatnot.
So give us one more that just because we're running low on time, one more that you really want to spotlight, and then a final wrap-up.
Okay, last one I want to spotlight would be rank 264, and that's Surrogates number 4. It sold 1,500 copies, down about 200 from issue number 2. I don't actually have the numbers for number 3 because it didn't make it onto the charts. I read Surrogates 1 through 4 today. I thought it was a great title. I'll be honest, the art wasn't, the kind of style that I liked, but it was totally functional. I could tell what was going on. And if I were, over in Hollywood looking for something to turn into a summer science fiction blockbuster, this would be something I'd choose. It's a really good title, and it ought to be selling, much, much better than it is.
It'd be interesting to see if they... Well, I'm sure Top Shelf will trade that, because normally all their stuff comes out in graphic novel form, so it was kind of interesting that they went comic book form with it. So it'll be kind of cool to see what kind of interesting format they choose for the trade.
Yeah, and I'm curious how well the trade will do, because typically a trade sells, around the 1,500 mark or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and you guys need to remind me when the next issue comes out, because I don't have that on my order for DCBS.
Oh, okay.
I was a late adopter on that title.
Somebody write that down. John Mayo Surrogates.
That'd be appreciated. Now my private message thing will be filled on the forums.
There you go. Any other overall thoughts about the numbers?
There were a couple of things here and there. I was surprised with Savage Dragon having dropped as much as it did, but then I looked at the history of when it was coming out, and I mean, they only had 2 issues released last year. That's got to hurt sales. You guys have talked about that title quite a bit, and I dropped it with issue 112 when I switched over from shopping locally to shopping through DCBS, and I was surprised that only issue 122 has come out recently. You know, it's like I haven't missed that much in a 2.5, 3 year gap. That's a little disappointing. By and large, I didn't really see anything that jumped out other than, say, Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos, which is just doing a free fall. Mike Norton mentioned on the forums that it was being canceled, which totally floored me because I thought it was a miniseries, not an ongoing. I don't know what they were thinking, greenlighting that for a monthly title. It's a good premise, good story. Giffin's a good writer. It's not something that's got legs, particularly in this kind of a marketplace for the long haul. Do it as a miniseries, test the waters, move on. That, and I think the preview they put in the other books just did not impress people and scared a lot of people off.
So I think it's sort of safe to say that, from a marketing standpoint, variant covers and crossovers and events work, and it's going to be a long time before we get a sales chart that doesn't rely on those things.
I agree entirely. If you look at the numbers for JSA, you'll see a huge jump of about 5,000 copies when Alex Ross starts doing the covers. Those are also tie-ins to Infinite Crisis, Day of Vengeance, OMAC, which, goes into the whole, big overarching storyline. I mean, these sales tactics work. They don't work for the long haul, but if you do them often enough, you can prop a title up. So I would really like to see a lot more of these titles just going up based on, the quality of the book themselves versus these other kinds of, sales, I don't want to say gimmicks and stuff, but sales tactics.
And like you said earlier, once we get the numbers for March for the 1 year later, for DC anyway, it'll be interesting to see down the road, like you said, give it 4 or 5 months, see where those numbers start to level off.
Yeah. Because, again, I'm hearing a lot of people saying, yeah, I'm going to try it out, see what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not all titles are going to be for all people,
right.
And some of them, may do much, much better. Some of them may quickly go back to where the title was selling before.
And then they'll just do 2 years later.
There are some titles I don't think you can do anything about.
Right.
You look at the Doom Patrol, where the John Byrne series was selling at the end, compare it to pretty much the same issue numbers on the previous Doom Patrol series, they match.
Right.
And that's a difference in creative teams, tone and style and characters of the book. I mean, some of it is the strength of the property.
I think Aquaman's the same way.
Yeah, I think so too. He's not a bad character, but he seems to have gotten, stuck in that, second-class citizen as far as the sales go. With the talk of a TV show that might help, personally, I don't think it will. The title I think they're giving for the TV show is like Mercy Reef or something like that. Something that doesn't even, give a clue as to, hey, this is Aquaman. And typically, those kinds of shows really don't do much of a sales bump for the comics.
I think that was a great title right there. Hey, this is Aquaman. All right, John. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, not a problem. Happy to do it.
That was our Mayo Report for this month, and we'll be sure to bring you back.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Okay.
You want to do the contest announcement real quick? New contest for March. Your prizes, so generously donated by Sandman 300 on the forum. God, I hope that's right. I apologize because I didn't write it down.
I think so.
Okay, he donated the first 4 softcover Walking Dead trades because he got the big omnibus or whatever they call it. He got that big collection. First 4 Walking Dead trades will be yours if you win the round 2 of our photo entry contest. This is the one where you got to take a picture in front of a sign, a billboard, a title.
No reused photos.
No reused photos. I was just going to say that, right? That has anything that's superhero related. You need a prop that matches that word, title, sign, whatever. And you have to be holding something
a sign that says, somehow says CGS.
CGS.
That way we know you took the picture exclusively for this purpose.
Right. Randy Dickson was our winner from the previous contest. He was at Legion Lane or something like that.
Right.
And he was dressed as Ultra Boy, and his wife was dressed up as well. As a
Very sporting wife.
Right. Was dressed as a Legionnaire character as well. He had a Legion ring on.
That's right.
So he really went out, went far and above what we asked for. So there were some great entries. Do we have that?
Yeah, if you go to the contest page on the website, you can see the previous contest entries, and it's one of those entries. I don't remember which. I think it might be September's or something like that. So
that'll give you an example. So that's your.
It's pretty easy. If you, I mean, some people were saying, "Oh, there's nothing in my town," and so all I did was go to, like Google Maps or something, and I just typed Parker Lane in Toronto, and boom, it came up. It was like, okay, and the guy who lived in Toronto didn't even know that it was there. So it's like, it's so easy. Almost anything you could think of, there's something there in your town. It really is.
Right. So was it Maxim that used Green Lantern Motel?
Yeah, he found the Green Lantern Motel.
It's a shame you can't use that again.
I know.
But, so that'll run the entire month of March, and we will pick the winner, right? Is that how we do it? We pick the winner?
Yeah, we just pick the one we like the most.
Okay.
He should just have his fiancée go there and take a brand new photo.
Oh, yeah, just different person.
And a reminder that our book of the month for March is V for Vendetta. And when we do the book of the month episode, we're going to do it on the trade and on the movie. And if you want to pick up the trade, you can get it from instocktrades.com for 40% off.
Also, if you have the time, listen to Bruce Rosenberger's comic podcast crossover. I got the pleasure of doing it about a week and a half ago. So it's episode 6, and it's up now to be able to download it. Take a listen. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to doing it again someday.
Do you realize, Shane, you're like the Tito of the group? Because whenever somebody wants to get in touch with one of the members, they always seem to get in contact with you.
You're our Zeppo.
Honk, honk, I'm okay.
Okay. This episode of Comic Geek Speak was sponsored by Drawer Boxes, the ultimate solution for storing your comics. Check out collectiondrawer.com for all the information. And if you want to send us an email, it's comicgeekspeak@gmail.com, and check out our website at comicgeekspeak.com. It's we just recently updated it, and it's got all kinds of great illustrations from Loopy Dave. Thank you very much, Dave. Thanks to upallnightgaming.com for hosting the website. It's March, so please vote for us on Podcast Alley. And reminder that we are brought to you in conjunction with worldfamouscomics.com, your spot on the internet for the best comic book and entertainment-related columns, contests, features, reviews, news resources, and more. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.